Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn about search and filtering in Django. So we were actually supposed to learn sitemaps in this particular lecture, but we will learn about sitemap in the upcoming lectures. But for now, let's jump into search and filtering. So now let's say if you have thousands of movies on your movie website right over here, and let's say if you want to have a search bar right here to search one of these movies right here. So how exactly can you go ahead and do that? So in order to go ahead and search movies in here, we are going to make use of filters in Django. So using filters in Django is pretty simple. You just need to go ahead and filter out the objects which you actually get upon retrieving a particular model. So now what we want to do is that we want to have a search bar right here, and it should have the search button, and whenever we type in some movie name in here and when we click on that search button, we should actually get the movie which we have just typed in here. So how exactly can we go ahead and do that? So first of all, let's go ahead and add the search bar, and you will understand how we can connect that search bar to our database and everything like that. So let's go ahead and define a search bar in here at the top of our template. So I'll go ahead, and in order to have a search bar, I'll go ahead and create a form here. So the form's action is going to be nothing, but the method is actually going to be get. And in here, we are simply going to create a input field. So the input type is going to be search, and the name is the most important thing which we are going to give here. So the name of this input type is going to be, let's say, movie underscore name. And we don't actually want the ID of this particular field right now. So we are going to simply go ahead, delete that. And now let's actually have a submit button in here. So I'll type in button, and let's define the type of this button to submit because we are using a form here. And let's say this button says search. Okay, so now once we have the search button, we are pretty much good to go. So if I go ahead, hit refresh, as you can see, we have a nice looking search button up over here. So now once we have this button, now let's go ahead and make this button functional. So now the first thing which we do is that as soon as the user clicks the search button, we will actually want to fetch the movie which was entered by the user. So how exactly can we go ahead and do that? So first of all, we actually need a way to get this particular movie's name which we have just typed in here in this particular input field. So in order to get that, we use the get method which we have also used in pagination. So if we actually go to the views.py, as you can see, we actually use the get method to actually get the page number. Now we are going to use the same thing for getting the movie name over here from this particular input field. So let's see how exactly can we go ahead and do that. So we'll leave the paginator code aside, and we'll start search and filtering code right from here. First of all, I'll type in movie underscore name because we want to get access to that movie name. So we go ahead and get that from the request.get.get, and in here you need to type in the name of the field, which is the input field right here, and the name of that input field is nothing but movie name. So I'll simply copy that and paste it right over here. So that means now we just have access to the movie name. And now once we have access to the movie name, and once we have all the movie objects, we want to get the movie object which has the name as the movie name. As simple as that. So we just go ahead and make a check over here. So we say if movie name. So first of all, we want to make sure that the movie name is not empty. So we type if movie name is not equal to empty, and the movie name is not none. So it should not be empty and it should not be none. So if that is the case, then we actually can go ahead and use these movie objects, and we can filter out the objects, and we can only have that object which has that particular movie name. So we can type in movie objects equals movie objects dot filter. So we are filtering upon the movie objects which we currently have, and we want the object where the name, so name is nothing but this field right here. So the name should be equal to nothing but the movie name which we just got from the input field. So I can type in movie name right over here. So now once we go ahead and do that, we are pretty much done creating our filter. So now what this thing simply does is that it takes all the movie objects, it's going to filter them in a way that the name of that particular movie object matches up the movie name, which is nothing but the name of the movie which we have entered in the search bar. And it's going to return back the result to movie objects, which means that if it finds that particular movie object, it's going to simply pass that thing as the context, and we are going to get that on our main page. So now let's go ahead and see if this thing actually works. So let me switch back to the browser, and now let's search for my movie. So when I go ahead and click search, as you can see, we have my movie. Now there is one problem with this particular approach, and that's basically let's say if you have a movie which says my space movie. So let's go ahead and add a movie which is my and has some space, and then it says movie. Let's see what happens in that case. So let's go to admin, and in here let's add a movie, and let's name this thing as my movie. Let's say the rating is 5. Click on save. And now if we actually hop back to movies, that should be movies. And now if we go to the last page, as you can see, you have my movie. So if you actually just search for movie, you should actually get these two movies right here. But now if I go ahead and actually search, as you can see, I get no result at all. So how exactly can we fix this problem? So we can fix this problem by using something which is called as iContains. So what our current query or our current filter is doing is that it is actually looking for the exact matching words. So it needs to make sure that the name is going to be equal to the exact name which we are passing in the input field. And in order to change that, I can simply go ahead and instead of just having name over here, I can type in name _ I contains. So what this does is that it relaxes our search a little bit so that we also get if certain particular word of our movie's title matches up. So just make sure to add double underscores. So this is not a single underscore, instead we have 2 underscores, and then type in I contains. So once we go ahead and do that, let's see how our search works now. So let's first go to movies, and now as you can see on the last page we have 5th movie and my movie, and let's search for movie. So when I click on search, as you can see, everything appears right over here because each one of these fields actually have movie in their name. Let's go ahead and add another movie, and let's say that movie's name is something different which does not have movie in it. So I can type in ABC as the movie name, and the rating is, let's say, 5. Click on save. And now if I go to /movies, and now if you go to last, as you can see, you have ABC right here. And now if I type in ABC and hit search, as you can see, I only have ABC over here. And now let's say if I type in third, and if I click search, as you can see, I get the third movie. If I go ahead and type in second and click search, I get the second movie over here. So that's how you can actually go ahead and implement the search functionality in Django. So the only thing which you need to use is that you need to use a form. Then in order to access or get the input fields data from the form, you simply need to go ahead and use the get method from the request and get that particular form's field using the form field name, which is movie name in this case. Then you simply get that movie name and you check if that movie name actually matches up with the name. And in order to ease up the search a little bit, you use the variable name _ I contains, and the search is going to work in a much more better way. So that's it for this lecture. I hope you guys were able to understand how search and filtering works in Django. So in the next lecture, we are going to learn something about permissions and groups. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.